I'm James Zanewicz from Tulane Medicine here at the Bullpen during JPM 2025, and it's my pleasure to welcome longtime Bullpen member Jaynee Sasso of LinkCo.
Yes.
New company, new direction.
Yeah.
Super excited to learn more about it, but before we do that, let's give our Bullpen audience the opportunity to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure.
Tell us about your background and how you got here.
Well, my background is in finance, but that got derailed as a young adult, having to become a caregiver. So I care for several chronically ill loved ones over a 20-year span. So that was very challenging. Simply because of that time of life, you're having family, you're getting married, so all while everybody else is doing those things, I'm doing those things plus taking care of someone chronically ill.
As many women do.
Yes, multitasking, wearing many hats.
Like, women take more on.
Yeah, so wearing many hats, and was able to go back to school eventually with the advent of technology. When I was going to school, there was no internet or online school or anything like that. So technology has made it available for us to better juggle all of our responsibilities. So I was excited about that. And then from that, just wanting to service more women like me that were dealing with those challenges. So I just started out with wanting to support family caregivers. Didn't envision all of what we're doing now, but it's all good. You listen to the market tells you what it wants, and if you listen, then you will have a growing and thriving company. So I'm glad to say that's where we have arrived.
And this is the perfect segue to the next question, which is, what are you focused on right now? And I'm guessing it's LinkCo and moving it forward.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about the company and where you're headed in 2025.
Yeah, so with the help of the Bullpen community, recognize some additional opportunities for our company. So where we focus primarily on seniors, we recognize that there's a need for other patient groups that are underserved to be able to access clinical trials, and we also became aware of the fact that CROs have a difficult time recruiting patients. So we are getting into the patient recruitment process and hoping to create a pipeline for our clients who have never heard of clinical trials, considered it, be open and give access to them. So it's all about increasing access at this point.
Because it really is, a lot of people think of it as medical testing, but it really is access to the earliest care that can really change lives potentially.
Yes, exactly. And empowering them to do their own research and to ask questions. We take people to see their doctors all the time, and a lot of times they just do what they're told. And we have to kind of like speak up for them. So it's going to be great to be able to give them another option and open up their whole world to some additional new treatments and maybe change their lives forever.
Well, it's teaching them that, it's called the practice of medicine for a reason.
Yes.
And I work for a medical school, and doctors are incredibly smart and incredibly caring and compassionate people, but they're also human.
Yes.
And so asking questions to understand, what are the benefits? Are there any risks? What do you think the odds are that's helping me? Are really compelling things to learn to do.
Exactly.
And it sounds like you're enabling people to do that.
Exactly. Yep, that is our goal. Obviously, we're going to continue with addressing the top 4 social determinants of health, because that does impact participation in clinical trials. So the lack of access to transportation, digital illiteracy, if you're doing a clinical trial and there's some monitoring tools that need to be used, somebody has to educate that population about how to use those tools. They may need access help in the home, and they just may need additional support socially and emotionally, which often keeps them motivated to even continue to participate in the clinical trials, right? So, or just to be active in their own healthcare. If people are isolated and left alone, then they're less likely to follow through, with their medical care plans.
And I think from what I heard earlier, you're not just doing it for the patient, but for their community of caregivers as well. So you're enabling a lot more, which is not something we've thought about in personalized medicine previously. It's the village, not just the villager.
Not just a person. So we help and support a lot of families that may live far away. They may be physicians themselves. Right? And so I learned in accounting that just because you're an accountant doesn't mean you know taxes. And so...
Nor do you want to necessarily,
exactly.
Right?
So it's the same thing, if my client's family are a group of physicians, it doesn't mean they understand dementia or Alzheimer's or know how to get mom to take her medicine on time. those, you just don't make assumptions about people's understanding and awareness, because unless you're working with the patients as closely as we are, a lot of times you wouldn't even know, and they might be embarrassed to even say that they don't know. But in this kind of a setting, it gives us and gives them the freedom to have those very difficult and delicate conversations.
And I know you're very familiar with the Bullpen mantra of find someone, help them repeat, which is much like your company. You feel the same way.
Exactly.
But this is your chance to be selfish. When you get to come on camera with me and hang out and be annoyed by bright lights, you get to make an ask. So what is your ask of the Bullpen? How can they help you and LinkCo move forward?
Just continue to connect with me if you are a CRO or you're involved in clinical trials, to help me to become more educated about that process, so that I can develop my processes even more to be of more support in creating more value for CROs and clinical trials. So that's what I'm looking for, to get educated. So anybody that wants to set up a meeting and have that discussion and give me their feedback on what they've experienced in the past, so that I can start working towards bringing what is needed into the future.
And so you want that, I imagine, both from the CROs, from companies who have been through clinical trials and their experience on their side, perhaps investment firms that have had portfolios and seen a lot of this. But any of those folks should inbox you right now and give you the information so that you can create the best product possible to service the patient population, their caregivers, and really enhance healthcare, but also create a tremendous business model at the time that perhaps people should invest in early on.
Oh yes, you might want to consider that. So
are you doing a raise?
Yes, I am.
Tell us about it.
I will be raising probably in the next 6 to 8 months. So we are going through our transition, coming from being an old model to the newer company. So once those things settle down, then we'll be able to put our focus into raising.
Excellent. So stay tuned, watch the Bullpen, because I guarantee you we'll have the information first.
Exactly. You are exactly right. All starts here.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your JPM.
Thank you.
And I encourage everyone to check out LinkCo, learn more about them, and help if you can.
Awesome. Thanks, James.